China kicking off a policy meeting this week that could provide some clues about the trade skirmish with the United States. For the latest in the U.S.-China trade tensions, let's welcome Rufus Yerxa, who is National Foreign Trade Council president. And Rufus, thank you for being here today.
My pleasure.
We keep calling this a skirmish. Is that what you would call it at this point?
No, I think it's much more fundamental than a skirmish. I mean, obviously, the two sides have sort of stepped back from rapid escalation now and are starting to talk. But you know, there's a lot of big fundamental issues on the table between the U.S. and China. They're not just about sort of bilateral trade. They go to obviously much deeper issues about the way China runs its economy, about the interrelationship between the state and businesses, about technology issues and security and a lot of other things. So, yeah, this is a big issue, but obviously we're watching carefully how the two sides handle it.
We just heard some language from President Xi this week. We ran it yesterday on the show, talking about how China's not going to be pushed around and how they will not be listening to outsiders telling them what they need to be doing. Should we read that as a sign that tensions are going to ramp back up, or is this just kind of each side speaking to its own constituency while behind the scenes maybe there are some thawings happening behind?
I think it's more the latter. I mean, obviously, if you're the Chinese leader, you're not going to start talking about how, you know, China's willing to concede points to the U.S. You're trying to reassure your own constituencies that, you know, China's got its strong position. But hopefully, the Chinese have been sobered by the fact that, you know, they need the relationship with the U.S. By the same token, you know, a few weeks back, the narrative was all about how China's market has been declining and they're under enormous pressure. Well, now, obviously, the U.S. market is facing some of the same headwinds, and there's broader concerns about global growth more generally and about why it's important for the two biggest economies to try to find a way to do business with each other.
Do you think that will lead the two sides to actually come up with some sort of solution in the 70 or 71 days that are left before this deadline?
I've said all along, I don't think we can expect a final deal that quickly over many of these fundamental issues, because the U.S. is basically trying to get China to address, you know, issues about how their system operates, forced technology transfer, IP. Those things take a long time to put in place and to implement correctly. And at the same time, the Chinese want assurances about, you know, whether or not the U.S. is going to treat them a certain way. So I think it'll take longer. I hope over the next 70 days we get some substantial progress which keeps the two sides from going back into a sort of a tit-for-tat tariff war. I think now there's downside risk for both the U.S. and China in escalating those kinds of frictions.